I'm Diederik Stapel. I'm committed scientific fraud. I've changed and invented research data, and by doing that I jeopardized the careers of many of my colleagues, and I betrayed their trust in me, and I caused them pain and sorrow. And trying to understand what I did and what happened. What happened? I tried to rebuild myself, I tried to pick up the pieces, and I tried to make a new start. Why a new start? Why not disappear? Why not go up in smoke? Stay in the cellar of our house and not appear anywhere else, never to be seen? Why? To show my children that life is worth living. Even when you fall, you can pick up the pieces and try to stand up. Even if you jump, like I did, from a 54 stories high skyscraper, you fall and you're in pieces, but you can try to pick them up piece by piece. It will take some time and go on. Why did I make up research data and blew up my career as a scientist? Why? Well, today I want to talk about the importance of connectedness, of being connected, because that's something I lost and something I learned to appreciate more than ever in my life. There are many reasons why I did what I did, why I blew up my career and why I invented research data, but I think one of the more important reasons is that I became detached from myself. I lost my own interest, my inner self. I lost my dreams, my power, my passion, my desires. And in doing that I also lost the connection with other people. I became a sleepwalker. Slowly over my career, step by step, day by day, week by week, year by year, my personal goals became less important than my professional goals. And my professional goal was only one goal. And that goal completely overtook me, and that made me become detached from myself. I became indifferent, and indifference is a terrible disease. I became indifferent, I was a sleepwalker, I didn't care. I was having fun, I was teaching, I was writing, I was thinking, I had wonderful colleagues, but myself, my true self, wasn't really there. I lost myself. And why? Because I got too goal focused. My goal was too important and it was too single-minded. Of course it's good to be goal focused. If this train doesn't know where it's going, we don't get anywhere. And if you don't know what you want from life, it's not worth being alive. And of course, when you know where you want to go, it's easier to get there. It's extremely important to be goal focused. But life is not about one goal. Life is about multiple goals. Life is a multiple goals game. There are many goals on the soccer field of life. There's not one for me and one for the enemy. There are many goals. And that's what I lost, this insight. What do we want from life? We want to love and we want to be loved. We want to find meaning and be meaningful. We want to connect and be connected. We want to be happy and make other people happy. Of course we want to have fun and peace and world peace and help Obama and other people. And we want to save the planet and we want everybody to be happy. Of course. All these goals are important though. And they're important at the same time for the same people. And when you become like me, when you become goal obsessed, when one goal becomes more important than all the other goals, you become blind to the other goals. Focus on one thing and the other things are pushed away. And that's of course, that happens to many of us. Not to the same extent as it happened to me or I did it. More profit, more sales, more clients, more patience, more shareholder value, more world peace, the great American novel, a new haircut, saving the planet. These are extremely important goals. But if they overpower all the other goals, you're lost. So goal focus is a good idea, but goal obsession is something very dangerous. In my professional life, I became obsessed with results. by finding answers, by finding what I expected to find, by finding what I thought was logical. That became my obsession, and it pushed away all the other goals. It was my carrot that was in front of me, and I was running behind the carrot, and it wasn't there, of course, it was a moving target. And when I was chasing this carrot, all the other things above me, besides me, underneath me, became unimportant. I didn't see them. I didn't see them. I got blind. I got blinded by my goal. And I fell, I got lost, I got disconnected, and I fell on the floor, and that was the end of me. Social connection is important because it makes us human. It's what makes us human, it's what defines us. We as the human species, we can talk, we can converse, we can share our thoughts like we do now today. And I think this is best illustrated, that it defines us as human beings, but if you look at the Sixtine Chapel, where God creates the first man, the first human being, Adam, and he does so by pointing his finger, by connecting his finger, reaching out to Adam, and by touching the finger of Adam, he breathes life into human beings. He gives human beings an emotion, a soul. So social connection is important because it makes us, that's what defines us. But it's also important, I think, because it heals. We know that people who have a lot of social support live longer, they're healthier. And again here I think an example from art is important. It's the same image, but from a Spielberg movie, E.T., the extraterrestrial, where Thomas befriends a strange little puppet. Thomas, the main character, he finds E.T., he brings him home, he takes care of him. And at a particular time, I think the defining moment in that movie is that when Thomas hurts his finger, it bleeds, and E.T. reaches out to him and heals him. And with the little Spielberg finger, with a little light bulb, he reaches out to Thomas and he touches him, and the finger is healed. So that's what social connection does. And we all cry, and we say, oh, beautiful, and we see the film over and over again, and it's a millions making machine. So social connection also makes us vulnerable. When you truly connect to others, you're vulnerable. From a distance, it's easy to shout and scream and judge and say people are wrong or they're terrible, whatever. But if you meet them in person, when you talk to them, when you see their emotions, when you see their non-verbal behavior, when you know that they're actually existing, that's when they're vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, you can actually connect and you can learn and you can teach each other something. So that's why social connection, I think, is important. And of course, I guess for a social psychologist, the most important reason why social connection, social contact is important, because of this vulnerability, it's the breaker, the scissor for stereotyping, for prejudice. Prejudice exists, people have all kinds of images on people in the news, on television, they read about, they have all these images and stereotypes. But when you meet these people, when you bring particular groups, Moroccans and Dutch people, other Dutch people, Surinamers, homosexuals and heterosexuals, you have all kinds of images about each other. But when we meet each other, we see that these stereotypes break. There are two famous examples from the sociology literature. The first is that in World War II, North American soldiers, it was the first time they fought together with black and whites fought together. And there were platoons with all whites and there were platoons with blacks and whites together. And the stereotyping, the prejudice of the whites against the blacks was amazingly high. This was the 40s. In the all-white platoons, and it was amazingly low in the mixed platoons, because these people were in contact with each other. They fought together, they knew each other, they got to know each other. Another famous example is the Robbers Cave experiment, where social psychologists take Boy Scouts to a summer camp and they make two groups and then the two groups are then competing against each other. They're competing against each other for all kinds of silly games. And they hate each other. They start calling each other names. Prejudice immediately blossoms. And when you put people into people in two groups, oh, I dislike that. We have immediate impressions, quick and dirty judgments of other people. But we forget to connect, and I think that's why this is a great idea, the social coupe. Normally when you're on a train, everybody's behind his iPhone, behind his iPad or smartphone, and we're looking at the screen and we're SMSing small, strange, not flawless Dutch texts. It's a great idea to actually talk to each other, to reach out, to open up and to get to know each other, so that you know someone instead of only knowing of someone. So that's what I learned and tried to do. Not quick and dirty, not one goal, but multiple goals go away. And that's one of the things I've learned so far. Not to lose myself anymore. To get in touch and converse and communicate with myself, with my moral principles, my emotions, the things that are important.
Thank you very, very much. Every question is okay now, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, go ahead.
Diederik, what do you think is the importance of having kindness and compassion towards yourself and towards other people?
What is the importance of feeling kindness and happiness towards yourself and compassion and kindness towards yourself and towards other people?
I think, thank you for that question. I think it's extremely important, kindness and compassion. It's something that I lost and had to find again. And fortunately, people, my friends and family, gave me that, showed me that compassion and kindness, and that enabled me. And they forgave me. Many of the people I collaborated with forgave me explicitly. We talked about what happened, and that allowed me. And I think that's perhaps the most important lesson: to be kind and forgiving to myself, because I'm the person who can only forgive myself. There are no other people who can forgive me. Yes, the people are close to me, but not people I don't know. Right about me.
Didn't you love yourself in the first place, Diederik? Didn't you love yourself in the first place?
Yeah. Is that a rhetorical question?
I'm curious.
I don't think so. No, I created an image of myself. I was working very hard, made enormous weeks, and I was searching for something. I was a searching soul. I tried to find answers. I find this a cold and unstructured and chaotic world, and I wanted to make it whole and beautiful, and I didn't succeed. And in that, maybe I pretended I love myself, but I don't think I love myself. I do love myself now more than 3 years ago.
Thank you. Other questions? Everything is okay, ladies and gentlemen.
What happened to you? How widespread do you think that is in the scientific world?
How widespread is that in the scientific world? What happened to you? What you did actually, Diederik?
That's a difficult question. I'm afraid to answer that. I think if you read the newspapers carefully, you may read about me, but if you read more carefully, you read about many others. My answer, because it's a question I've asked myself a lot, and I think the answer I want to give is the following. I'm not the only one, but there's also not a majority of people like me. So I think science is a beautiful place, and most people are there for all the right reasons and do great work in a good and moral way. But I think it's not the case that there's only me and no one else who makes mistakes. Maybe to the extent I did it, but we don't know. That's of course an empirical question, and I hope public opinion, the media and science itself really now takes a serious effort to answer that question. Because I don't know, but I firmly believe that the majority of scientists, the vast majority of scientists, is in there for all the good reasons. And that's not for the money, but that's for finding a truth.
More questions here. Yes, go ahead.
How do you think that this general goal of society to really achieve something, to have success in the work that you have to do, facilitates this behavior? Because I assume you were searching for something and you didn't find the right results, and
Exactly.
your theory was broken down, and you were afraid of the consequences, no?
To what a gentleman is asking here, to what extent is the rush for success, the want for success, the reason for these kind of things happening, Diederik?
Yeah, that's what I meant with these multiple goals. I think it's important to have multiple goals. I mean, you may think we don't get anywhere if we have multiple goals. But the problem of many things in society is that they're one goal driven, and it's success, it's profit, it's patience, it's clients, it's new medicines. And I think if we're only striving for these single goals, we have a problem. So, of course, I try to explain my own behavior as a psychologist in terms of who I am. But I'm also a psychologist, so I'm also driven to explain it in terms of what's happening around me and in society, the society we're living right now. I think the striving for one particular goal, the impossibility of failure, is what makes accidents like this more likely to happen.
We have another question here, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
everyone that pursues success in a career gets kind of myopic. But some people lose their moral compass and others don't. What's the difference between the people who keep their compass and people who don't?
Some people lose their moral compass and some people don't. What's the difference between those?
Yeah, that's the question that I ask myself. To answer it for myself, I lost my moral compass. I think it's back, and I think I lost it in one particular area of my life, my professional career. In other areas of my life, I didn't lose it. I'm not an adulterer. I don't hit my children. I got weak knees, and I want to be successful. And I really had this performance drive that became more important than the learning goal. And that's why I think, we don't know, and there's so many reasons, could be one of the reasons why this happened to me. Unfortunately, many people have strong knees and can carry the burden of failure and not being as successful as they want to be, or not always being successful.